Let's see if we can set this up. So we made this patch panel. I'll show you where it goes on the car after. You can see here we put two little marks, wrote light, and what that means, we need a light bend here. Here we wrote hard, so we need a little more bend there. Let's show you how that kind of works. So this is a stretcher. We've got a shrinker down here as well. These are the ones you get from Princess Auto, which are probably identical to what you get from Harbor Freight, which basically means, you know, they make them in China. So it puts little bites in, makes little teeth. Now these aren't the best. There's videos on tuning these and doing a bunch of work, but I'm going to be honest. Right, this is what we're doing. And they work just fine for that. So they're not the best tool, but they will get the job done. This isn't going to be the best video, but we're just trying to prove that you don't need the best of the best. And I notice with these, you don't want to hit them hard. You want to go down and then put a little pressure, and you'll see it kink in. So let's go see how close we are on the car. Give me a second, pull the camera. So this is our 56 Chevy station wagon, and this is the piece we're going to make, and it curves at the front. Now this car's a bit of a pain because we got to walk in there, so I'm going up one ladder and on to the other small step ladder, just so we can get in here without crawling in on our knees and whatnot. And I think we're happy. Now I left this end a little extra long because you can't always get curve right at the edge. So I want to make sure I had the perfect curve, and we'll cut that off to suit. If you come back here, you'll see where we left a little extra meat. So this will come back here, and we'll push that down. So here we can mark that later and do a cut and butt. And down here, we'll probably do the same thing. And that's basically how we're going to make those panels. And the reason we want to cut and butt, there's some kind of trim that goes here. We don't know what kind of interior the guy's going to put on, so we're going to make it as close to factory as possible. So if he buys a bunch of pre-bought stuff, it's all going to fit. There's probably some kind of panel and carpet kit that comes here. There's screw holes here where a trim would run and hold the corner in. It goes all the way around, and then there'd be a side panel separate maybe. So we don't want to... because we don't know what's going there, if we set it like this, pushed it down, and we could lap weld this right on the top. It's only the thickness of the metal. But why not try to get it in as best as we can to match what was there. So that means now that we have this, we can refine this edge. You can see where it's thicker here and shorter here, just because how it cut and the way we bent it. But what we'll do is we'll find the shortest length of this ridge and then match it all the way across. So we'll basically scribe that, shave it smooth, and that way we can mark it, and we'll cut a little extra meat out of here because we want that to basically be flush and drop right in. Our end here will simply leave the gap, and once we drop it in there, this will sit over top of this, and we'll just run across the edge. And basically, you know, we won't cut through both, but we'll cut through one and that'll drop in. And as it starts dropping in, we can tack it. And that's, so is it important to do a cut and butt in this area? Probably not, but we do want it to look nice so that it, you know, we don't want to do body work in here because it's all going to be covered up anyway, but we do want it to be presentable. Now, if you look down here, we did a flange and did a lap weld over the flange, and we're going to seam seal that shut. That's going to be totally fine. But up here we want to have it kind of smooth. Just sometimes people run with nothing on these, so we'll see what happens, but it's basically that simple. We're going to now bend one for that side. And the next thing we're going to do, we've got a 3-inch strip. We got to weld across here. This bottom was bad. That side wasn't too bad. We're going to have to hammer and dolly that though, and then, you know, sandblast it. We're going to have to weld a few spots shut because we've got a 1x1 angle we're going to weld onto here to drop our floor on. Now, the original floor for this car was simply made with the angle on it, but it's an 18 gauge steel. We are using the Harbor Freight brake. It's all I pretty much use. Actually, it's the Princess Auto brake, which I suspect is, you know, yeah, Harbor Freight sells this the same in red. Now, the Princess Auto ones, before they were blue, were red. They were identical to the Harbor Freight one, but then later, you know, they made their own stickers. They painted it blue because Princess Auto does all their stuff in blue. But that's basically it. It's not a hard patch panel to make. Now, you could do it in 2 sections with plain hand tools, but the reality is I can't remember for the life of me what these cost, but you order them together in a box, and I'm going to be honest, I don't need them a lot, but something small like I just showed you, it's kind of vital. So let's see where the other guy went here. Where did I put it? Oh. So there's one, and it wasn't as bad, but there was a hole here and here. But because there's a panel up underneath that pushes up and tacks to it, which is sort of the inner wheelhouse stuff. They don't really have wheelhouses. They just have some flat panels with rubbers that just weld to the top. Where they were layered, they basically just hold all the dirt and rot from the inside out. So the reason we cut that one so far, we wanted to get past that inner stuff on, you know, structure, whatever you want to call it. We wanted to make sure that we passed the rot. And at the back here, you can see where we went just past that structure piece. We know there's no rot back there because it's wide open. So we're going to take this piece because we know it's going to fit fairly well. And we're going to take another piece. You guys out there that have a helper filming you, that's awesome, because this just sort of sucks. But we'll get her. So we don't have a sharp 90 in there. So if you look down here, you'll see where the line is, and we're back a little too far, but that'll allow it to go round instead of a hard 90. Sorry about that. We do want it just a little bit big, so we have extra meat to cut off. But yeah, so let's see what we got. Plenty close enough. Now the thing is, the other reason we want a little extra meat, it's not just so we have a little more metal to cut off. Yeah, we're going to give that a quick sandblast. There's a little bit of rust staining in that metal. Might have to give it the Pickle-X treatment, something like that. But we're going to want to match that curve. So we're going to start about here. Sorry about that. I'll do this one on video because we're doing it from the opposite side, so it might show it a little better. Anyway. You got to be able to get up because you want to be able to give it that little extra crush, and you'll see it start to twist. Now, if you take it out a bit, instead of having it all the way in, push it out, and you can see how it twists a little better. And the reason why is because you want to pull this, but if you pull too close to the edge, you just can't go anywhere. Now, if you need a little tighter bend, you can go in and out and go over it a couple of times if you have to. And if you look there, you can see the teeth marks. You can see the bend. Now we don't want to go too far, so we're going to compare the two. You can see there where we're pretty good, and then we need a little more down here. I just have a bolt in the bottom into the vise here. Now if you mount it more stable, is it better? Sure. But we're just doing this little piece, so this is fine. If I want to get more aggressive, I'll put 2 bolts and mount that to a table. And there you have it. So that's close enough that if we have to manipulate it a little bit and just force it in place by hand, it won't be enough to matter. This is basically what we're going to do. So we know here on the car we cut off just above the line, so there's probably 1/3 of this edge we're going to have to cut off so that it fits in perfect. Down here we'll do our cutting butt. We left extra meat here. And just to get that feeling of satisfaction, give me a second here and we'll go test it on the car. Because we can. You can see back here, we line up the corner. Yeah, there's a little fold on the corner there. We'll have to fix that, but that's going to work for us. Now, the other one fits nice, where this one right here and right here is a little bit too high. So I'm going to have to come to those 2 high spots. Now we just used a stretcher to create that. We have a high spot right about there and right there where we simply overdid it. So we're going to change over to the shrinker. We're just going to gently shrink there and there, and it should fit perfect. And again, you could throw a little slice there, just bend it up and then weld it in. But as you can see, this piece doesn't have to curve as much. We're actually back. We went by the trim holes, which don't line up from one side to the other. So that would have fit nice further ahead, like I said. But on this side, where we got a patch is different. None of this stuff lined up like the other side. That was just, you know, this stuff here is what it looks like. See that flat chunk there? Then there's it's welded to this piece with a brace, and it goes up to here, and then it's bent and it goes to here and stops. Then here there's another one, and they put a rubber again in between that and the quarter, and they just jam it up there and kind of tack it in a few spots, so they don't line up. it is what it is, and it's only going to be rotten from this stop spot that way, because you can see here there's nothing under here, it's only under this edge. Another thing you'll notice, you'll see how it's narrow and it goes wide, and then it's wide right across both pieces, where on this side it's narrow the whole entire way up. It's not because they used a different thing, it's just because they're in there kind of willy-nilly. It is what it is, right? 56 standards are, well, they are what they are. So anyway, we'll take a little bit of bend out, we'll cut them and fit them in. Thanks for watching.